So let's go ahead and talk about the problem of the day. Be sure to answer the questions I ask out loud and think about how your work is the same or different from what we talk about together. How would you show this problem using a visual model and why? Say it out loud. Yeah, we would shade 8 parts in the grid here on the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right? There are 100 parts in the entire square, so the square represents the band, and each of these individual parts is like one student. We've got 8 parts because 8 students play the drums. I'm curious, why does the visual on the left here, why doesn't that visual work as well to represent this problem? Say it out loud. Right, it's broken into 10 equal parts, but we need 100 equal parts to represent this problem easily. So what do we call each of the parts in this model? We learned about it yesterday. Say it out loud and explain why. Go ahead. Yeah, we call them tenths because there are 10 equal parts in one whole. Okay, so what do you think we would call each one of these parts and why? Say it out loud. Yeah, we would call them hundredths. Because there are 100 equal parts in one whole. Okay, how do you think we would write this amount, 8 hundredths, as a fraction? Say it out loud. Yeah, we would write it as 8 over 100. The whole band, right, is made up of 100 students. So that's going to be the denominator. And then 8 students play the drums. So that's the part that we're referring to. So that's the numerator. Okay. So we know from yesterday that the tenths place value is right here to the right of the ones. What's the relationship between the ones and the tenths? Say it out loud. Right. The tenths are 10 times smaller than the ones. It's like we divide the ones into 10 pieces, and each one of those is a tenth. So I'm going to put here, divide by 10. Okay. So then, what do you think is the place value that's to the right of the tenths, and why would that be? Say it out loud. Yes, this is the hundredths place. Because if we take the tenths and we make them 10 times smaller, we get hundredths. Okay, how do you know that the hundredths are 10 times less than the tenths? Think about these visual models. Go ahead and explain it out loud. Yeah, so if we took each tenth and we split it into 10 equal parts, then we would have 100 parts, each of which is 10 times less than a tenth. So the place value to the right of the tenths is called the hundredths, because it is the place value that is 10 times smaller than the tenths. How is this place, the hundredths, different from the hundreds place? Say it out loud. Yeah, the hundreds place would be over here somewhere on a place value chart, right? It is 100 ones. It's 100 times greater than a 1. Or you can also think of it as 100 wholes. The hundredths are 100 times less than a 1. They are 1 part out of 100 in a 1. All right, so let's practice saying this new place value. First, I'm going to say hundreds. That'd be the place over here. Go ahead and say hundreds. Now the new place value, hundredths. You say it. Go ahead. Hundredths. Great. Okay, so how am I going to show the amount of the band that plays drums as a decimal? Say it out loud. Yes. I'm going to put a decimal point, 0.8. Great. Why do I write it like this? Say it out loud. Well, we want to put an 8 in the hundredths place since the value is 8 out of 100. See here the visual model, right? 8 out of 100 pieces in our whole. The hundredths place, then, is 2 places to the right of the decimal point. And there's a 0 in the tenths. You could also put a 0 in the ones if you want. And those zeros are placeholders. They just make sure that this 8 stays in the right place. Okay, so I'm curious, what do you think we should be thinking about when we're trying to write an amount as a decimal? Say it out loud. Right. Read it with me. We could be thinking how many tenths out of 10 total parts, that'd be here, right? Or how many hundredths out of 100 total parts, that's here, are being referred to. And what do we need to think about when we go to actually write them? Say it out loud. Right. We think, how many tenths or hundredths do I have? And then we write that digit in the tenth or hundredths place. Last thing. How would we write this number, 8 hundredths, in word form? Say it out loud. Yeah. We would just write 8 hundredths.